What are you hearing on these ongoing negotiations? Because the truth of the matter is the Senate is a little more hesitant to cut spending than the House.
Look, I think the answer will be some. We've said this all along, that the Senate was not going to go along with some of the cuts being proposed by the budget hawks in the House. We always figured it would be somewhere in the middle. The most important thing is to come up with a product that can get the 218 votes necessary in the House of Representatives so we can get it out. There's so much at stake right now. As you know, President Trump's tax cuts from 2017 are set to expire at the end of the year. President Trump did a lot in terms of keeping money in the pockets of middle-class Americans when he doubled the standard deduction, doubled the child tax credit, lowered income tax brackets across the board. It was really important because we saw millions of jobs being created as a result. We saw companies investing and expanding. We saw repatriation of some American manufacturing, and we saw unemployment come down to the lowest levels, particularly for Hispanics and African Americans and women. And so we want to see a continuation of these tax cuts, but we also want to expand them to include the various provisions that the president spoke about on the campaign trail, lowering taxes on our seniors who are dependent on Social Security, lowering taxes for individuals who are tipped workers, lowering taxes for overtime. The working class, that is who our president is focused on. We need to work together to deliver it. So if this is the best way, we go about that by having two separate set of instructions, one in the Senate, one in the House. At the end of the day, we need to obviously pass one big, beautiful bill that is the same in both houses and send it over to the president.
Congresswoman, passing that one big, beautiful bill comes down to the votes. And that brings me to my next question about tomorrow's Florida special election, which could potentially bring 2 more GOP votes to the House. I'm curious how closely you're watching, or you will be watching, that special election. And secondarily, would you put into context for us how important getting 2 more Republican votes would be, particularly given the very, 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 very slim GOP majority right now in the House?
Well, every single vote matters in this situation when we're dealing with reconciliation, because as you know, in 2017 with the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, there were 13 no Republican votes. We obviously do not have that to spare with a majority of 1. And so those 2 extra votes coming in are critical. And we believe that we will win those special elections. These are major Republican seats. I think there's a lot of buzz out there that the Democrats have been spending. Look, they're spending one of the Republican candidates 9-1. But at the end of the day, the people of Florida understand how critical it is that we not only keep the majority, but that we expand the majority. And if we're going to get President Trump's tax cuts, if we're going to secure the border, if we're going to unleash American domestic energy, if we're going to restore manufacturing and bring our pharmaceutical supply chain home so we're not dependent on communist China, then we need to have those 2 seats stay in the Republican column tomorrow.
Also, Congresswoman, to cover no tax on tips, the Trump administration is reportedly considering taxing the wealthy to pay for it. Axios is reporting that some inside the Trump team are considering this to buy some breathing room on other agenda items. They also say nothing on this is final yet. Congresswoman, what can you tell us about this?
Well, look, we're going to have to see exactly what the Trump proposal is. I will say that the House Ways and Means Committee, the Republicans on our committee, have been working regularly to come up with the different parameters and options that we have to meet Trump's plan and agenda. And so we're working diligently on that. We've had multiple 9-hour meetings, very lengthy meetings where we're going through the various provisions. And so we'll see. We have not heard directly from the president yet on this. Let's see what his plan is, and let's see how the numbers work, and let's see what we can do. But I know that he is focused on providing relief to the working class, to the middle class, trying to help them and not so much worry about the very wealthy. And that's a good thing, because we do need to help the people who are struggling, who work hard every day and are getting unfair burden because of the Biden economy that has increased their costs of everything from eggs to gas. President Trump, as you know, since he's been in office, has reduced the cost of gas, of eggs. The mortgage interest rates have come down. Inflation has come down. So far, so good. He is delivering for everyday Americans, and we want to continue that great work.
Yeah, all of that has gone on, and we haven't even seen the one big beautiful bill yet signed into law. So we'll wait for that for sure as the big step two in all of this. We want to show this part here last week. President Trump recently gave you a shout out and praised your proposal of creating a women's history museum. Here's the president. Take a look.
The driving force behind the effort to create a women's history museum, working very much with some of the women in this room. I'm not sure if it's been discussed specifically, but to create a women's museum on the National Mall. And we have a great site. I'm very good at real estate, you know. We have a great site, and Nicole Malliotakis is here someplace. Where's Nicole? And she is really working hard on this one. This is a passion for you, and you're working. It's a big, beautiful. She said it's going to be a big, beautiful museum. Well, it has to be. If it's for women, it better be big and beautiful, or we're in trouble, right? But we're working on that.
It better be big and beautiful. Tell us more about this proposal. Love it.
Well, President Trump actually authorized Smithsonian to build a women's history museum back in 2020, and Joe Biden actually sat on it for 4 years. And so we're working on the next phase here, which is to transfer land on the National Mall so the museum can be built. Republicans should be very supportive of this because we need to make sure the correct history of our country and the role that women have played is portrayed and exhibited in these museums for generations to come. Remember, it was Susan B. Anthony, a Republican, who pushed the 19th Amendment. It was a Republican senator who introduced it. It was a Republican Congress that approved it. It was a majority of Republican states that ratified it and gave women the right to vote. It was a Republican president, Richard Nixon, who signed Title IX, giving women athletic scholarships and opportunities, rooting out discrimination in educational programs. President Trump has now further gone on to not only make history with his appointments of women in his cabinet and the first chief of staff, but has also protected women's sports. And so we have a lot to be proud of. Sandra Day O'Connor, first woman Republican on the Supreme Court, first woman in Congress, Jeanette Rankin. So we have so much to celebrate, and we need to tell this story about the many women who have come before us, both stories that are currently known and unknown, and the role that we've played in building this country. So this is going to be part of President Trump's legacy, and it's going to be a wonderful thing when it's all said and done.
I think that's absolutely,
as a lawmaker
so cool. So cool, Terrence.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was just interested, since you were in the room at that women's event the other day, and we were talking earlier about that event, what was the mood like in that room?
It was fantastic. It was very energetic. It's nice to have a president who knows what a woman is, who can define what a woman is. He's protecting women in sports. He's appointing women to the highest levels of our government, whether it's being the multiple secretary of various agencies to be a leader, whether it's education or agriculture or homeland security. His chief of staff, Susie Wiles, first in the history to have that role. And I think it's just incredible that he is taking on this endeavor as well, because, again, this has been sitting around under Joe Biden. He never took the initiative to move this to the next step to get it done. And I think it's just a great thing for our party, for the president's legacy, and for women across America and for generations to come.
Congresswoman Malliotakis, thanks for being here, and you've been on our show consistently. We really appreciate you having that strong, steady influence up in D.C. and here on our show. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you so much. Great to be with you guys.